Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to Garb August, the very bottom of the rung of BookTube events. This was created by Ollie at Criminali last year, and it has only spread this year. It's even bigger than it was, and it's a BookTube event dedicated to reading trash in the month of August. I have been all over it because I love reading trash. It's always been a part of my reading diet in one way or another, whether I called it that or not. And I've been adding a little trash to my reading diet whenever I can in the month of August. Unfortunately, the month of August is also a month when the piper must be paid, when an enormous writing and research project of mine is coming due at dawn on this coming Wednesday. That is the deadline. That is the hard and fast deadline. No excuses, no all but this, not, one little exception. No, nothing like that. The whole of it done on August at dawn this coming Wednesday. Until then, it's a lot of work. I'm doing a lot of freakish amounts of work, and it's not the only deadline that I have to. Of course, I have other deadlines for at the same time that don't know anything about this project that I foolishly took on. So I haven't been reading as much trash in August, which is the month of Garb August. I haven't been reading as much trash as I would like to. But I did read a novel last night that I thought I would talk a little bit about today. Sorry for the audio issues that have been plaguing this channel since my latest techpocalypse. Suddenly, devices that I have just don't seem to pick up audio. You can barely hear it. In the course of time when I've been making videos, bad audio has been the number one complaint that people have made. And when I have upgraded, when I have made tech changes, and to me, it sounds just fine, and 99% of people that respond have also said, yeah, the audio problems are fixed, this is just fine. In all of those cases in the past, there have always been 1 or 2% of people watching my videos who would say, I can barely hear you, the audio is terrible, there is no audio. Some people would say, there is no audio. There is no audio track on this at all. It's not that it's low, it's that it's non-existent. Like, I wouldn't notice that myself. I'm not the tech savviest person on the platform, but I would notice that. And in all of those 1 or 2% in the past, I have been able to just say, well, it's you. Somehow or other, it's you. Because I'm operating this channel largely by consensus, and 99.9% of the people who are watching don't have a problem. But lately, not only have the number of comments gone up, but I've noticed it myself, that something is badly wrong with the audio. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I have a few ideas, number one of which is to use my newest piece of technology, my newest MacBook. The only reason that I don't use it to film videos is because it cuts out. I use Photo Booth on the MacBook to make videos. And I have a 2020 MacBook that it has Photo Booth, but Photo Booth is faulty on it. And I went online to help forums, and they said, yeah, it works for 5 minutes, and then it cuts out. Is there any solution to that? I looked up that, and I got the most comical things on Mac community help boards saying, yeah, the solution is to go into the main directory of your computer, not in the controls. You have to go a layer deeper than that, and clear out everything that it has ever encountered or crawled or remembered or cached at all of it, every time you make a video. If you do that, then Photo Booth should work fine for 20 minutes. Of course, I'm not going to do that, nor is anyone else. So I haven't been using that device, even though its recording technology, its camera, I think, and certainly its microphone are better. But then I thought StreamYard will work on that device, and doesn't appear to malfunction. That would give me access to a better microphone, but StreamYard, not only do I not know how to make a video on StreamYard, I can only make a live stream on StreamYard. Now, my videos are live streams anyway. I don't edit what I do, so that's not a deal breaker. I could film it live with my name as a participant down here and the StreamYard logo up here. A little bit distracting, but at least you'd be able to hear what I say. So that's one possibility. I can try that with the new MacBook and see if maybe you can get used to that. I don't know. But in the meantime, since I don't have any time at all, I overindulged myself today making a video. I did a video chat with Jared Henderson about what happens when you hit the wall. What happens when you need to purge your books because it's time for you to move. It's a great conversation. If I have the ability, I'll leave a link to it here, but it'll be on my channel anyway. all my chats with him are so much fun. But that was, Zoom lets me have 40 minutes, and that was 40 minutes. That is really more time than I have to devote to anything that isn't either Frida or writing at an enormous pace. So I'm making this video today, but I think that'll be it. I don't want to leave. Garb August comes but once a year, after all. And I did read something last night. I read this by Brent Riley, Caesar versus Zombies. And it raised a whole bunch of questions. I know that I'm Jesuiting this up. This whole innocent event is supposed to be just good, happy fun, and I keep asking deep, categorical questions about it, which I know you're probably used to that on this channel, but I can't help it. This raised a ton of questions for me. A ton. This author is incredibly prolific on Kindle Direct Publishing, KDP. Incredibly prolific, including books like The First Space Orgy or The Lucky Bastard with an Enormous Penis. He's written God knows how many books, over 100, I'm sure over 100. And it's not just that he's prolific. I get the impression that I know how he works. I don't know this author. I don't know anything about him. If he has a YouTube channel, I've never seen a video of him. But I think I know how he works. I think he sets out a regular mechanical program. I am going to write, I don't know, 10 books a year, a book a month, or more than that. And the way I'm going to do it is not to fuss over it. Obviously, you see this is a very simple cover. In terms of indie published books, this is a very simple cover. But it's more than that. It's the book itself. I think he's probably a fan of ancient Rome. I didn't notice a whole lot of glaring factual errors, but I get the impression that he writes at speed, that he has the mechanism of churning a book out and getting it up on Kindle Direct Publishing and slapping a low price tag on it, then regularly bundling books in groups or for free to entice new readers. I think he's got the KDP work cycle down. I very much get that impression. And that was one of the deeper questions that reading this book raised, because this book is bad, and that is why. I am sure that is why. It's not that this author has no talent. It's that he's not giving himself time to use it, because he's looking out for making a living on KDP, which you can do if you write like this. You can definitely do that. He mentions in I think one of the introductions to his books that he's doing this for his wife and kids. He's doing it so that they'll have something to live on when he's no longer around. He's doing this. The feeling is very much, I'm writing as fast as I can. And the result is pretty predictable when you do that. I know that I'm in a very ironic position to say that, since I'm currently writing as fast as I can, but I don't do this all the time. What I'm doing in the month of August, I don't do all the time. He does, and one of the drawbacks of I'm writing as fast as I can is that it's going to be bad. Your writing is going to be bad. You're going to be writing slapped together, very easy, least common denominator prose. Now, in Garb August, we're probably not talking about the quality of prose, right? There's no probably about it. We're definitely not talking about the quality of prose. So maybe this is all irrelevant. In Caesar versus Zombies, that is exactly what you will get. We've got all the names here. You've got Marius and Sulla and Cato and, of course, Gaius Julius Caesar. You've got a horde of zombies that eventually come into conflict with the Roman Republic. And what are you going to do about that? How are you going to figure these things out? How are you going to combat them? Now, if you have ever thought, well, I absolutely love zombie stories. I'm a junkie for zombie stories. They don't have to be particularly good. Most of them aren't. I just love them. And if you're that kind of reader, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing at all. I am not that kind of reader when it comes to zombies, but of course I am that kind of reader when it comes to a whole bunch of other things, especially killer sharks. If you're that kind of reader, then probably you have thought, I wonder what an ancient civilization would have done confronted with a horde of zombies. They didn't have machine guns, or napalm pyrotechnics or anything like that. I wonder what they'd have done. Would they have been just completely overrun? Well, if you wondered that about What would happen if Julius Caesar's Rome confronted a horde of zombies? You're going to get that in this book. And the characters are going to be recognizable to you if you know your Roman history. They're going to be recognizable to you. A lot of the larger claims, the names and operation of the equipment that Roman and also other Parthian armies used in the field, if you know about those things, you're not going to be offended by this book. I know about those things. My guy, the Roman that interests me the most, fought the Parthians. So I noticed that that aspect of this book is competent. It won't get in the way of you enjoying this book. Also the personalities and a little bit of the architecture, the buildings in Rome itself. It's obvious to me that this author did not just wing it. You know, this is not Xena warrior princess history where Caesar can meet Gilgamesh or whatever. The author didn't wing it in terms of giving you a believable Rome. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how he came up with this idea. I would love to know his work program. He must have it down to an absolute science. He must allot himself time to do a little research. This book shows a little research. I wonder how much time he leaves himself. God almighty, it must be clockwork. And you know, again, that is one of the deeper trash subjects that this provoked in me, because I'm always telling you all that you should do this, that you should write, and that you should do it every day. That there should be, I guess, don't think I've ever used the phrase, but there should be a kind of clockwork ritual to it. You should be producing material. How many decades have I been saying? Produce material. The first thing you have to do when you write is produce material. The thing is, when I have been teaching writing, I have always said that's the first thing you have to do. I've never said it's the only thing. And there's very much, what do I need to do to get this baby out the door feel to this book that I think you would have to have if you're writing 30 books a year. You would have to do that. So I have a couple of examples here that I thought I'd go through with you to sort of give you an idea of what I mean. Like, for instance, at one point we are given a hint of Pompey's personal life, and of course where Pompey's personal life intersects with Julius Caesar's personal life is Julius Caesar's daughter. Pompey married into Caesar's family, or Caesar married into Pompey's family, however you want to look at it. And we get passages that I want to let me call one up for you here. We get passages about that well, let me read it to you and you tell me what you think. This is Caesar reflecting on the fact that Julia seems to prefer Pompey to her first husband. So she dug him already. But several years before, her father engaged her to the richest boy in Rome, a comely, pimply boy named Brutus. Yes, that Brutus. Over several years of their engagement, she got better and he got worse. Kissing that ugly face revolted her. His face had too many craters for him to shave, so he always looked like he just woke up after a week-long bender. The prospect of them effing dried her out, no matter how much she drank. Nightmares of their sex gave her seizures. Pompey versus Brutus was like night and day. And the point I want to make about that is that it's bad. That is bad. It's not fun bad. That is, yes, that Brutus. That's a hack author of the worst possible definition of that term, simply addressing you, the reader. Look, don't get in my way. Don't slow me down. Yeah, it's that Brutus. She dug him. Julius Caesar's daughter dug Pompey the Great. No attempt at writing at all. No attempt at what we would call prose at all. This is just take the idea, the story idea of Julius Caesar versus zombies, ground it up, add saline, put it in a syringe, and inject it directly into you. And I wonder, do we want that in our trash? Or is there maybe a way for trash to do exactly that, but not quite so artlessly as this, so that it doesn't bother you. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that the way this was delivered bothered me. It was very much, look, don't slow me down, kid. I got a conveyor belt of these things. Let's get through this. I'm not going to think about what I'm doing. Let's just get through this. That requires, for instance, that the author never adopt anything but a completely conventional, everyday, working contemporary tone to his prose. It requires that. If you were to try to do anything else, this would take more than a week to write. And it can't. If you're writing 100 books a year, it can't take you more than a week to write this. 2 weeks to write this. So we get another passage here about the march of zombies towards Rome. Caesar was livid. That traitor, Gaius Marcellus Major, led zombies north of the Black Sea, through the Balkans and over the Alps. They never would have found Rome without him, so every Roman casualty belongs to him. He was furious because that prick accused Caesar of betraying the Republic, yet here he was, leading the world's largest army against Rome. Someone applauded, and Caesar saw Surenna on a hill, looking as old as Caesar felt. Bring it on, bitch. I don't know what that will do for your reading experience here, but for me, it did something very different. That tone is not all that different from, Don Pendleton. The tone is not all that different, but it's not out of place in Don Pendleton. It never brought me out of the book in any executioner book or anything else. And it does here, very much does here, which of course, predictably, raised for me a ton of deep chin-stroking existential questions about what it is that we're reading when we read trash. What can trash get away with and what can't it get away with? I mean, this I made a quadrant about the kinds of trash, and this certainly is not bad trash, either good bad trash or bad trash. But this might very well be bad good trash. It's a trashy idea, Julius Caesar versus zombies. Of course, it has the feeling of being slapped together, so you very much have the permission that all trash gives you to turn off the critical part of your brain. You very much have permission from this book to do that. But is there something else involved? Is there some other element involved that gets in the way? Like, for instance, Jilly Cooper or Jackie Collins here in America. If those two people are in fact different people, you very much get the impression that the author wants you to enjoy what they're writing. Whereas, I guess maybe the point I'm trying to make is that here I got the impression that the author wanted me to buy his books. Here, I'm gonna grind this up. I'm gonna add saline. I'm gonna inject this directly into you, and I'm gonna do it again in a month, and then in a month after that. If you like what you read on the page, well, you've got 300 books by me, and I'm not claiming any of them are any good. I got the distinct impression that there's a writing philosophy behind this book. I know from what I'm describing, it sounds like the exact opposite. But no, I bet if you talk to this guy, he would say, look, I just want to write books without frills. That's all. I just want to tell you, a straight story without any frills. And if that's his philosophy, he certainly does it. But I don't know, am I at a point in the middle of Garb August where I'm asking for frills? That seems so weird. This left me with a million questions. Caesar versus zombies left me with a million questions. I wish that maybe one of you would read this thing and tell me what is bothering me about this. I like to think, I've been reading trash for a long, long time. I like to think that I am perfectly well able to do the essential mental maneuver when it comes to reading trash, of knowing that you're reading trash and turning off the part of your brain that would object to it. I like to think that I can do that easily. I've been reading trash for a long time. What it was about this thing that made flipping that switch either impossible or unsatisfying, I can't quite identify. But this was a trash reading experience that I didn't enjoy. But it isn't the same thing as, for instance, that post-apocalyptic YA thriller Contain that I talked about the other day, which was also indie published. But there, I did not at all get the impression that the author was saying, look, I don't care about this. I'm injecting you. Don't ask any questions. Don't slow me down. I've got a rhythm going here. Get out. get the book, get the next one. With Contain, I know this is going to sound silly, and I might be wrong, but with Contain, I felt like I was reading something the author cared about. And here, the author definitely has things he cares about, but it's not the books. It's not the content. It's the book industry. It's KDP. It's flooding the zone. I got that impression anyway. I could be wrong. I don't know anything about this author, but I'm afraid that my trash pile for today is a little bit on the ambivalent side. I'm a little ambivalent about this thing, so I might have to go back to the pure well of trash again tonight, if I can. I don't know if I can justify any reading tonight, so we'll see. And I also don't know how successful this video is going to be, trash or no trash, zombies or no zombies, because I don't know if you can hear me. I'm hoping that the audio is at least passable until I can figure out what to do. But anyway, I don't have time to fiddle around with new tech until dawn next Wednesday. So this is going to have to do until then. You're all so good to put up with me. But I'm going to wrap this up for now. Having a wonderful Garb August. Even these misses, I would call this a miss. I got what I wanted. I got an injection into my veins of a story of what would happen if the Republican Rome faced zombies. I got that. But I would call this a disappointment. And there have been some in Garb August, but I wouldn't have it any other way. This is so much fun. So I'm going to wrap this up, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.